There is no denying that Doctor Who is a brilliant show, but it can also be a bit silly. First of all, you have the premise of an otherworldly being who can change their face, wields a magic screwdriver that doesn't work on wood, and flies around in a blue box. And on top of that, you have some of the earlier days when some of the costumes and aliens looked like a Halloween costume that your mum had made. Add all these things together, and something that should have been serious, like a death scene, becomes quite laughable. So with that in mind then, I'm Ellie with Who Culture, here with 10 unintentionally funny Doctor Who deaths. Number 10. Decapitated for being stupid in A Good Man Goes to War. Has anyone else ever noticed that Dorian Maldovar and Lord Varys from Game of Thrones are incredibly similar? And not just because they're bald. They both have eyes and ears everywhere, and they both use their influence to outwit more physically intimidating foes. Except, while Varys dies a noble death, Dorian dies because he's an idiot. In the Series 6 episode A Good Man Goes to War, the Doctor, Rory, and the Paternoster gang are protecting Amy and her newborn daughter from the Headless Monks, and Dorian, who has had dealings with the monks before, we'll give him that, he recognises that they're chanting their attack prayer. Now, it's already been established that Dorian is a smart man, so why on earth does he not try to escape or take up arms? No. Instead, he simply wanders over to them thinking he can just strike a deal because the two have done business before. Now, Dorian's death is supposed to be the precursor to an epic battle, showing that the monks will kill without mercy to get what they want. But instead, it kinda just looks like a Monty Python sketch where a big blue bald bloke gets his head chopped off for being dumb. Number 9. Accidentally fell into acid in Vengeance on Varos. Now, the Doctor seems strongly committed to their no-killing rule these days, but that doesn't mean the Time Lord hasn't shed some blood over the years. An adventure of Colin Baker's 6th Doctor, Vengeance on Varos, was first transmitted in 1985 and saw the Doctor and Peri stuck on a world where torture and executions were broadcast for mass entertainment. However, the viewing public on Varos got a little bit more than they bargained for when 2 guards accidentally fell into a vat of acid while trying to dispose of the Doctor's body. The Doctor, who isn't actually dead, pops up and startles one of them, which sends them falling into the bubbling brew. Then, after a brief scuffle, the other guard gets pulled into the acid bath as well. The first death here is utterly ludicrous. The Doctor taps the guard on the shoulder, which makes him jump, sending his colleague face first into the vat. All it needed was a wacky sound effect and it would have been straight out of a farce. Now, he might have murdered 2 innocent men for simply doing their jobs, but we'll let Colin Baker off the hook this time because it was pretty funny. Number 8. Blown up for no reason in Kablam. When having Lee Mack in your episode isn't the dumbest thing about it, then you know something's gone wrong. The 13th Doctor and her entourage arrive at the headquarters of Kablam, a galaxy-wide shipping company that definitely isn't meant to represent a real-life business beginning with the letter A. The Doctor begins by investigating the disappearance of various staff members, but uncovers a far more sinister plot. Charlie Duffy, a maintenance worker, has reprogrammed Kablam's fleet of delivery robots to explode once they enter people's homes. Duffy's reasoning is that the machines will get the blame and more human workers will be hired in their place. Now, the logic is a bit twisted, but no, actually, it is just twisted. Nothing else to add there, really. Charlie meets his end when the Doctor reprograms the bots to explode early. He's caught in the blast, despite having all the time in the world to escape. But instead, he just stands there, and stands there, and stands there, until he blows up. Nice one, mate. You really did well. Number 7. Death by dodgy railing. Voyage of the Damned. Poor old Morvin and Foon Van Hoff do not have the best time on board the Space Titanic. After winning their tickets in a competition, the couple are mocked by the upper-class passengers for their lowly status. And if that wasn't bad enough, a bunch of asteroids hit the ship and some robotic angels try to kill everyone. The Van Hoffs survive the asteroid strike and join the Doctor and the rest of the survivors on a mission to escape. However, neither Hoff makes it out alive. Now, Foon perishes in a selfless act of heroism, jumping off a bridge while tied to one of the heavenly hosts. While investigating the depth of the chasm below, Morvin's weight causes the ground beneath him to buckle, sending him plummeting to his doom. Now, it's supposed to be a tragic moment and the setup for Foon to then sacrifice herself later, but it actually just comes across more like bullying. The Van Hoff's physical appearance had been the subject of ridicule throughout the episode, and the fact that it cost Morvin his life didn't really help matters. Of all the ways to kill him off, this was one of the worst ways to do it. Number 6. Killed by a Satsuma in the Christmas Invasion. David Tennant's first full outing as the 10th Doctor was the 2005 Christmas special, The Christmas Invasion, in which he fights off an attack on Earth by the Sycorax. Now, these bone-headed extraterrestrials are confronted by the recently regenerated Doctor, who challenges their leader to a sword fight. If he wins, the Sycorax leave and never come back. If he loses, it's curtains for the entire planet. Of course, Big Davy T wins the day and spares the life of his foe in exchange for Earth's safety. However, as he walks away from the battle, the Sycorax leader gets up and tries to attack him from behind. Fortunately, the Doctor has a trick up his sleeve, or rather in his pocket. He plucks out a Satsuma from his dressing gown and throws it at a button on the wall, which opens a panel beneath the charging alien who falls to his death. Now, not only is there the ridiculousness of an almighty warrior getting done in by a fruit, but there's also the hammy as hell scream that the Sycorax leader lets out as he falls. It's meant to be Tennant's big coming out party, but frankly, it's a little bit silly. Number 5, turned into fat babies in Partners in Crime. In the Series 4 opener Partners in Crime, the Doctor and Donna are finally reunited while investigating the adipose diet pill. Now, this medicine claims to be a magical way to assist weight loss, which is technically true, I guess, but only because you weigh significantly less when you're dead. Stacey Campbell was on the pills when Donna came round to ask some questions. As Stacey was getting ready to go out, Donna started fiddling with a necklace that adipose had given her, causing Stacey to feel unwell before she melted into some tiny but also really cute creatures made of fat. This moment is meant to illustrate how dangerous the pills are, but the combination of Stacey's skin bubbling away and the presence of the cute yet dorky looking adipose babies is just too surreal to take seriously. Number 4, death by karate in Warriors of the Deep. The notoriously troubled production of 1984's Warriors of the Deep didn't exactly make for a stellar end result, with the serial standing as one of the 5th Doctor's very worst outings. The story reaches the pinnacle of cringe with the demise of Dr. Solau, who for some reason decides that the best course of action in the face of an enormous reptile called the Merca is to karate it to death. Needless to say, this backfires in spectacular fashion, and the monster instead electrocutes Solau, killing her on the spot. She lets out an unintentionally hilarious scream of agony when she dies, which is the icing on this rather ill-judged cake. Self-proclaimed Doctor Who hater and former BBC One controller Michael Grade even took the mickey out of this scene during an appearance on Room 101 in 2002. And you know what? We can't really argue with him. Number 3, smooshed by plungers in Doomsday. Now, the 2-part finale of Series 2 was proof that Doctor Who was back and here to stay. It was an epic battle between the Daleks and the Cybermen, and unfortunately humanity got caught in the middle. Now, there were casualties aplenty in the skirmish, but this one stands out above the rest, and not for the reasons the writers would have wanted. When the cult of Skaro reveal themselves as the entities inside the Void ship, they need to learn as much about Earth as they can. Enter Dr. Singh, a Torchwood scientist who has chosen to be their encyclopedia. Except instead of reading him, they give him a big old smoosh. The 4 Daleks encase Singh in their plungers, sucking knowledge out of him like he's a juice box. Once they're done, they let him go, dropping his body to the floor to reveal a charred skull. Now, don't get me wrong, Singh's death looks highly uncomfortable, which was the aim, but unfortunately it also looked really, really dumb. Dalek plungers are silly enough on their own, and 4 of them wrapped around a man's face while he's gurning away, that's just hilarious in any reality. Number 2, sucked up by Peter Kay in Love and Monsters. Come on now, you didn't really expect us to not include Love and Monsters on this list of all lists. Come on. Now, this episode from Series 2 is one of the most hated in the show's history, mainly down to its villain, the Absorbaloff. Played by comedian Peter Kay, the Absorbaloff is hiding out as a human named Victor Kennedy while infiltrating a group of people searching for the Doctor. And this delightful gang of nerds contains the blossoming romance between Elton and Ursula, or Moaning Myrtle. The duo discover Kennedy's true form and that he's been absorbing their friends into his own body. As a result, their faces can be seen poking through his skin, and one of them ends up on his bottom. The fact that these people are now living as a sentient face on Peter Kay's arse massively detracts from the fact that they are, for all intents and purposes, dead. Technically though, the victims only die when the Absorbaloff is killed, which, to be honest, sounds a million times better than what they had before. At least none of them came back as a paving slab. Oh, wait, hang on. Number 1, eaten by a plastic chair in Terror of the Autons. Classic Doctor Who is full of delightfully campy acting, and we're totally here for it. The deaths are especially funny, people flailing their arms around, flopping over in increasingly ridiculous ways, and screaming like they were auditioning for the role of the faceless woman in Tom and Jerry. Perhaps the funniest Classic Who death, though, comes in the third Doctor serial, Terror of the Autons. The Master, played by the wonderful Roger Delgado, demonstrates the unique properties of an inflatable plastic chair. He gets someone to sit in it before revealing that the chair is actually an Auton. The Autons are creatures of living plastic, controlled by the Nestine consciousness. This particular one is instructed to kill the man sitting on it, which it does, in hilarious fashion. The seat slowly collapses in on itself, trapping the man inside it while he writhes around like a deranged worm. He eventually suffocates and earns his place in history as the man who got eaten by a chair on Doctor Who. And just to be clear, these are the monsters that Russell T Davies decided to reboot the series with. The chair ones. The plastic people. Brilliant. And that concludes our list. If you think we missed any, then of course let us know in the comments below. And while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap that notification bell so you never miss a Who Culture video again. Also head over to Twitter and follow us there, and Instagram as well. And I can be found across various social medias just by searching Ellie Littlechild, as can Sean and Danny as well. I've been Ellie with Who Culture, and in the words of Riversong herself, goodbye, sweeties.